It certainly does. And if anything, if he's not the Son of God, if this was an actual historical figure, what an insanely wise human being who didn't have these thoughts that are inherent to all of us of vengeance and lust and greed. Has none of these.
So radical. Also, you've heard it said before that you should, love your friends and hate your enemies. I say to you, you should love your enemies. I mean, that's just, it's like the hardest. I'm not there. I think very few people are there, but it's certainly the right aspiration, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the right aspiration. And Tucker thinks that this whole UFO thing is somehow connected to the spiritual realm, and that
because we've been told for so long that there is no spiritual realm. That spiritual realm is just a mental illness.
Right.
It's like, I love how he's like the Yahweh thing. He's like,
but the problem with the people that tell you that are all mentally ill. They're all very unhappy. Like atheists, like secular, like hardcore atheists are some of the most unhappy, depressed people I know. I don't see like incredibly happy unless they do a lot of mushrooms. And those people tend to not be atheists anymore. That's the one weird thing. People that have had like intense breakthrough psychedelic experiences, one of the first things they go, maybe there is a God. Like maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, because if I just experienced that and that's a real thing that you could have while alive on earth, where you are confronted with divine wisdom and love in some weird, strange form. When there's a lot of people that believe that that's the source of a lot of religious experiences, and instead of alienating and making those things illegal, we should study them and make them a part of the religious experience, because it's probably what they were originally.
Well, that's right. And so now that people are having spiritual experiences with UFOs, it's wonderful, and they should talk about them and kindle them. I think the thing about psychedelics that's so interesting is that my experience with them was that you don't become so attached to your ideas and your beliefs.
Right. And
so, which is a big problem in our society, is people that get too attached to their egos get attached to their beliefs, as opposed to like, oh, I thought that. I mean, I've made my whole career out of being wrong about things and then correcting them. But I think it's hard because it's really...
It's a great quality.
Thank you. But it's still, I hate it. I hate being wrong, and it's totally natural to hate it. But I do think like having a practice that makes you go, you are not your beliefs. There's something there. You have an existence separate from the things that you wrote on your blog or you wrote on X, and just don't be so attached to them.
Right. Don't make them your identity.
Yeah. And that it's actually, there's something really quite... there's an awful part of when you feel like you got something wrong, but then there's another part where you're like, oh, it feels good to get it right, and you feel clean, and that's what we should be going for. But it does require, for me, being humble about my limitations before some higher power is a really important place to begin. Because if you think there's no higher power, or the other one is like souls. We don't talk about souls enough. A new friend of mine at the university was talking about how important it is to really to care for your soul and to care about other people's souls. That's one of the things that Christianity is so good at, that you have something divine inside of you connected to something divine outside of you, and that your behaviors affect its treatment. And when you tell people that you're just, a meat suit and you're just worm food and your life doesn't matter and that it's all just, random and pointless, that's a terrible story. It makes people feel terrible. But when you kind of go, no, there was one of the most beautiful, I loved all the Charlie Kirk videos that went out after his death, because there were so many ones where he had these beautiful moments. But he's talking to these women that are doing the OnlyFans. Did you see that one?
No.
And they're trying to shock him and saying just really kind of crude things about their sexuality and how the sex they have, it doesn't matter to them. And he was like, I just don't believe that. I think you have a soul. I think God has a purpose for you. What a much lovelier way to engage somebody. And it wasn't you didn't feel like he was morally condemning them.
Right.